Bishop, thanks again for being with us today. Every so often we take a count of how many people come to Mass here in the diocese, and I think recently we just did it again in October. What are the numbers showing since in the last 10 years since you've been here in the diocese?
Well, there's a bit of a decline. I think when we first started taking the numbers almost 9 years ago, it was about 230,000. I think the latest one that we have, we don't have October's yet, was about 210,000. So there's a drop. There are a lot of reasons for it. First of all, people still move. Since 9/11, there has been an exodus from the city of the middle class, many of whom are Catholics, and people don't recognize that. They don't realize that. Other people coming in. There's new immigrants. There's new hipsters and yuppies and everybody. Not that we're depopulated. In fact, our population has grown. But the Catholic population really has diminished. So that may be one reason. Another reason, I think, is that people don't go to Mass every Sunday. So they may go to Mass once a month, twice a month, and the idea of understanding the obligation for Mass is been weakened in people's minds. So that when you do a count, you count the people who are there, but it doesn't mean that there may be more people coming to Mass than you can possibly count if they're not coming every week.
Yeah. It used to be that we were dealing with people who used to go to church, who don't come to church anymore, but now we're dealing with a lot of people who never went to church. And so doesn't that call for more creative and different approaches to trying to attract people?
This is the new evangelization. I've been speaking about it since the day I came to the diocese. That's where we're at. We need to reach out to those who have not practiced their faith, and those who don't have faith. But the new evangelization is aimed at those who have given up the practice of the faith. We need to find ways to bring them back. I was in a parish last week or two weeks ago, and I said to them, look, next Sunday, bring a friend to church with you, someone who was a Catholic, may not be going to Mass, maybe just your neighbor who doesn't have any church. That's how you grow. You just have to do it. You have to ask people to come.
Also, there was a recent survey done and said that a lot of people are almost opposed to religion these days. It's almost an anti-religious sentiment that we're dealing with here. People are just not open to coming to church anymore. How do we overcome something like that?
Well, it's a secularization issue in our society. That says we experience what perhaps Europe experienced a generation ago. It's coming to us now. America has been the most religious nation on earth in some ways, with different religions. We have a great practice here. There is a worshiping tradition, but it's weakening, and I think we have to recognize that, and then that's why we need to reinstate all the things that we know lead to better and deeper faith. So that's what the new evangelization is about.
You hear stories about other dioceses where they're experiencing a boom in Mass attendance. Some people are building new churches. You hear North Carolina, you hear Florida.
It's the population shift. The people from New York have gone down to those places. They really are building up because of new internal migrants to those places. I think they have some success with converts, but not the majority. There is that people are moving down there. There's more work, and that's the difference.
Do we need to talk a new language to people today? It seems that so many people. The gap between the people who are involved in church and the people who are not in church seems to be getting wider, and it's almost like we're speaking two different languages. What is it that people used to look for in the church that maybe they're not looking for anymore?
Well, I think people today have too much. The materialism comes with the secularization. They go hand in hand. When people have a lot, they have less of an interest in the spiritual and the things of faith. They seem to be self-sufficient. They don't seem to need their faith as much to sustain them. They have other things that keep them occupied, or other things that satisfy them. And that's a trend, it's a worldwide trend that we need to counter.
And you said to the priests at the convocation recently that they have to start thinking outside the box and to come to you with ideas. how do you encourage a priest to do that?
Well, I'm asking them to do it. I said, and I gave a couple of examples of things I felt were different. I did the new project we've started in Williamsburg, reaching out to the new population there with the 2 Franciscan brothers, giving them a church that wasn't being used. See, they're going to probably start a cafe so people can drop in. Well, so something different. I mean, that's something that was my own initiative with the diocesan people. But we're looking that we do something like that in every deanery, depending on the circumstances. What do they need? What is the problem here? What is the difficulty? And see if we can find something, a different way of doing things.
Good. Bishop, thanks so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Yeah.